Finally, the moment a couple of you have been waiting for.
It's all like bing bong, Jack.
Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Duval and St. Johns County. The show for Jag fans by Jag fans.
You can't have a newcomer come in and steal the show.
Here are your hosts, Franklin and Michael how you say it? DeZoba. Welcome to the Jaggernaut Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, kids of all ages, thank you for joining us once again. It is the Brothers Graham and Michael, joined as always. Frank, let them know who you're repping now.
Oh, Duval!
There we go. Finally got that right. Only took, like 12 shows or something like that? I'd like to welcome everybody to the Jaggernaut Podcast. All right, on tonight's cast, or today's cast, however you want to look at it, we're going to bring you, hopefully, some optimism. We tend to be very honest and upfront in our critique of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Which means we think they're bad.
And we do this not because we want to be curmudgeons or because we're because we like being half the glass is half empty individuals. It's because we feel like the local media won't. They know this team's garbage. They know this team has been garbage, and they've been selling us a pile of shit. And we don't like it. Okay, so this podcast, we're going to try and give you guys some optimism, some reasons to watch the Jags, cheer for the Jags. And my brother has been doing some research. I've heard he's got a subject matter about Baalke and about why Shad Khan decided to keep him. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to my brother Franklin. Take us away.
Okay, so I think every Jag fan has dealt with this question. Why did we keep Baalke? I mean, it's been a subject of numerous shows for us, the Twitter sphere, I'm sure the Facebook side of things. Every Jag fan doesn't understand why, once the Urban Meyer stuff hit the fan, why Baalke didn't just get walking papers just to make a clean sweep of it. No matter what you thought of Baalke, it just made too much sense. And I don't think anybody could figure it out. And so I know that I have a reputation for being, at least for people who know me personally, a bit of a conspiracy theorist. So this probably fits well within that. I don't call myself a conspiracy theorist. I just have a lot of questions. And so as I was pondering questions, I started considering there was the article that came out where Shad Khan, I think it was a USA Today article, where he talked about Urban Meyer, and he was talking about how he was a liar, which everybody knew that.
Guy, right? How can you trust this guy?
Sure.
So how can you work with him?
The thing that struck me was in the article, it talked about how that Urban Meyer hadn't gotten paid. Shad Khan wasn't intending on paying him. And that was, I think that's the first time I ever heard anything on that front. I think we assumed he could be fired for cause and that he wouldn't get paid, but I don't know that anybody knew how Khan was wanting to handle that situation.
I wouldn't pay that SOB.
Exactly. And that is the crux of this theory. Why did he keep Baalke? It's because he felt like he had to keep Baalke to show that it was not a sea change, that he wasn't upset with the choices that he made. He didn't decide mid-season, this isn't working, so I'm going to get rid of everybody. Therefore, justifying, because that would have given Urban Meyer's lawyer, whoever's going to attempt to go after this money for Urban Meyer, which I assume is going to take place.
Oh, it's already taken
them
place.
Ammunition. Yeah. If he fired Baalke, if he went and fired everybody, they would say it wasn't me, it wasn't my client, it wasn't Urban Liar. It was the fact that Khan made a mistake and he was impatient and he wanted a new regime. And so to go against that narrative, he has to keep Baalke so that he can show, no, I showed the guy who had the problem the door. And that was also one of the things that he talked about in this article, was the fact that he brought up the past coaches basically saying, you know, Marone and Caldwell and Bradley, all the people that he had employed, saying, look, I keep people a long time. This isn't normal for me. I fired the guy that had the problem. And then he could say, hey, Baalke's still here. If he got rid of Baalke, that does play well for Urban. And I think that when it comes to this situation, if you think about it from his point of view, he would have to pay Baalke whatever his contract is, which I don't think anybody thought that was a big deal one way or the other. But if it meant also that you had to pay Urban, that's a different story, because it isn't even just about the money. It's about the fact that Shad Khan, and you think about this for a minute, the fire Baalke stuff was trending because there was a clown emoji, but it wasn't Baalke's face. I mean, I know some people did some clown Baalke stuff. That was Shad Khan. That was Shad Clown, right? The clown with the Shad Khan mustache. This whole situation looks terrible for a guy who has mismanaged, I think it's fair to say, his team in regards to its ability to be successful this whole time. And this just made him look like a complete and utter imbecile. And so it's a pride thing for Khan. Urban did that to Khan, and so he cannot pay. I mean, you said it yourself, you wouldn't pay Urban what he's owed, because he's fired for cause, reasonable cause. And I just think the reason why Baalke had to stick around at least 1 year was so that Khan could say it was Urban only. I kept Baalke, I got rid of Urban. Urban's the issue. And I think that's the only thing, that's the only logical conclusion I can come to.
You know, if I knew for 100%, if I'm the owner of the Jaguars, and I knew for 100% getting rid of everybody and paying Urban Meyer his $60 million would bring me a championship, or would bring me a winning team, a winning organization, I'd pay it. I'm Shad Khan. $60 million is like 60 cents to us. It don't matter. It don't.
No. You're right about that, but the pride thing too. Don't discount that.
I get the pride thing, but man, I'll tell you what, how much pride do I need when I'm sailing in the Pacific on my yacht with some hula ladies? You know, how much pride do I got to worry about?
Well, I can tell you one thing. I don't care how much money. It's a lot of money to even to somebody like Urban.
I completely agree. I completely agree. But you know how life works, right? So Urban fucked me over. All right, cool.
No, it ain't cool.
Hold on. I'll pay him just to get rid of him. You know, it's like a bad girlfriend, right? Go ahead. You want that? Take it. Just get out of here. Right? That's essentially what it is. It's a bad girlfriend.
If you have to. Okay, let me ask you this.
But I never finished my thought. Okay. It's a bad girlfriend. Pay him off, get him out of here. Okay. Get Baalke out of here. Start fresh. That way you can win. The best thing you can do when you're dealing with a bad girlfriend is to move on and have a better relationship. To have a better life and a better relationship. Then what life generally happens is at some point, I'm going to cross paths with somebody and they're going to say, hey, didn't you hire Urban a few years back? Or, you know, this could be 10 years into the future. What do you think? What do you think I'm going to say, Frank? I'm going to tell him, don't hire that mother. No. He did this. He did that. Do you remember him doing that with that co-ed? I would seriously, at that point, when it came back around, I would tell the guy the truth about what Urban Meyer did. So only did I have the better relationship, because now I have a winning team, a winning football team. Life has brought me a chance to basically tell my truth for Urban Meyer, so that Urban Meyer can lose.
Yeah, ultimately, I think if you have to do that, that's, living a good life is the best revenge sort of concept of sure. But the problem is that I think if Khan had, of all the people, Khan had to be the most dejected, the most disappointed, the most angry at what he saw, because listen to this. He got handed the keys to the king. People go, well, how could Khan do this? Well, here's how Khan could do this. Here's what I'm driving at. Khan could do this because he got conned. He got conned by a liar, and he got lied to. And when everybody saw that he stayed behind and what he was doing, Khan realized what was up, that this guy didn't give a damn about the program or about the franchise that he's getting paid millions and millions of dollars to care for. So it is fired without cause. And because of that, you need to make sure that you don't allow him to get away with taking any more money from you than what you've already given him. And that's what I'm saying. Even if that means keeping Baalke around, because remember, I don't think Khan has the same negative opinion about Baalke as the fan base does, for one.
You mean as the rest of America?
Sure. But that's the point. He hates Urban. There's a thin line between love and hate. He loved this idea of having Urban Meyer, and Urban Meyer stabbed him in the back. So to your point about the girlfriend or whatever, imagine if you bought the girlfriend an amazing diamond ring and she cheated on you. You wouldn't want the diamond ring back? I mean, of course you would. And that's all I'm saying. You're not going to, if you can get the diamond ring back, you getting that ring back.
It depends. What if I had another side piece? And the diamond ring wasn't anything to me.
Well, you see my point. I'm just throwing
I
it
get
out
it.
there.
I get it. But you're making an assumption that Khan actually cares. I'm coming from the platform.
He cares about himself. Everybody cares about themselves to some point. That's why I'm saying this is the logical conclusion, because it isn't even about Myers per se. It's about the fact that he was completely embarrassed by a guy he trusted and made a deal with. This is a deal-making dude. He's gone through his whole life making deals. That's how he's made his money. And he made a deal with somebody who looked him in the face and lied. He's not paying that guy if he can get away with it, even if it means keeping Baalke. And that's what I'm saying.
I don't think you make your team worse for another year just because you got hacked.
I don't think he thinks he's making the team worse. That's the point.
Well, then that's more of the
because
point.
Remember, we're assuming we don't even know how Baalke's draft picks have gone. Our point. I don't want to speak for you, but my point has always been about Baalke is his track record has been bad. So there's no reason to keep him once that whole Urban Meyer stuff took place, especially with the whole, you wanted to interject some hope into the fan base. It really had nothing to do with Baalke. Baalke was more or less, sacrificial lamb to a certain extent. It's like, there's no positives that we can think of to keep the guy around. So just go ahead and pay him his contract and let him go, get a new GM and infuse the fan base with some positivity. That was always my point. So it wasn't, if Trayvon Walker turns into this amazing sack machine, then I'll say keep Baalke until he shows, if what he's done, moves that he's made in this offseason, I wouldn't have made these moves. But if they turn out to be great, then Baalke's did a great job, and there's nothing you can against it.
Have you ever heard that old adage that a GM will tie himself to a quarterback?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Is it possible that a GM ties himself to an outside linebacker?
In this case, he has.
That's what I think too. That's what I think too.
Well, for any regular owner, we still have Khan.
Yeah.
I don't know. Remember, this is just a theory.
Here's what I think. I think if Walker turns out to be just an above average run stuffer, I think you got to fire Baalke. And it's not so much because he's an outside linebacker. It's because you chose this outside linebacker at 1.
Yeah.
At 1.
And
yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And in all honesty, that's my expectation, at least for this first year. Trayvon Walker isn't all of a sudden going to learn pass rushing moves to be able to get around NFL linemen, unless he starts really showing something toward the end of the year. But, I don't know. I don't want to beat Trayvon Walker to the ground. He could possibly turn into a really good player. I just don't know that it'll happen fast enough to keep Baalke.
Well,
or at least that it wouldn't tank Baalke for this next offseason.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. It's not going to tank Baalke. Baalke's got 2 more years.
Maybe.
So yeah, I think he's got 2 more years.
If my theory's correct, and they go to arbitration or wherever they're going to go to get this,
they're in arbitration
out between Urban and Khan, and all that happens this year before the next offseason, then I think then Khan doesn't need Baalke around anymore. So we'll see. That's just my theory's correct.
All right. Well, that is conspiracy theory from Franklin.
And it's also optimism, if you think about it. One way or the other, it is optimism because we wanted Baalke gone.
Because it means we're going to have to suck this year. That's why it's not optimistic.
We could be good and Trayvon Walker still be bad.
Played a game. That's possible. Who knows?
Yeah, because it could be Peterson despite Baalke, and we still get rid of Baalke. So
maybe
I'm going optimistic.
One can hope we actually do something. We make some noise.
That was the first half with my conspiracy theory. Now it's time to go optimistic. So this is what I'm trying to do.
So here's what I'm going to give you from my reasons to be optimistic. We will have a turnover of about 10 to 12 new starters. Okay. We still got, because of Baalke, we still got some stank. Can't do much about that. But we got a new head coach. We got new position coaches. I was all about trying to change some of those. Instead, Herbs came in here and he kept the guys I disliked the most. Our offensive line coach, I thought was horrible, right? Our receiver coach wasn't very good either. So now we got rid of all of them. There's some optimistic. Maybe we actually have some coaches that can take the fundamentals that these guys know and grind into them better fundamentals, more information, just make them an all-around better player. And then we get 12 new starters. We can do something with that. What say you?
I agree with that. And to add on to what you just said, I think another piece of optimism is the concept of the trajectory that we created with that last game against Indy. If you think about last year, obviously it was an amazingly dysfunctional year. That reveals itself in various different ways, I suppose. Who knows? I mean, we're just guessing in this case, but that last game, remember that Urban was here for about 13 games. So who knows how much time it took to get everything going. All I know is that last game looked like a professional football team. And I think Indy was, I don't know what was going on with Indy. They obviously had the game against the Raiders that didn't turn out the way they wanted. So, but regardless, they had their backs against the wall and they came in and we physically dominated that team. And in regards to what you said, that was that roster, which I know you have a far less negative view of, or far more of a negative view of it than I do. I think it's bad, but I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. I think that was an example of why I think it's last year's roster was an okay roster, and it just got better. So that defensive line that went up against what most people think is the best offensive line in football, it just added some huge pieces. So in regards to the additional players you're talking about, Trayvon Walker is going to be a huge run-stopping, athletic linebacker on the outside. So good luck running out there. I mean, I do know that I do expect that to be a positive. I don't expect him to be a pass rusher. I'll be honest about that. I don't think he's going to do that this year, but he will get that down. I think just I can't even remember these guys' names. Fadulele. I can't.
Fadukasi.
Yeah,
Fadukasi.
okay. So that guy from the Jets is supposed to be really good. I mean, and
Right.
I think
Okay, so
guys that we have
we got
before
the
are
right
good.
side, we got the middle, and then we have Josh Allen on the left side. Where are you running? Where are you running?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So
Yeah, so another point of optimistic since we went there, and I threw out the 12 new starters, both offense and defense. I'm going to say our defense is going to be better. Where were we last year? 26th in the league, I think, like overall.
I don't even know.
I think we were somewhere around 26. I think actually we'll probably be more middle of the road. I would say anywhere from 12 to 18. That's what I think. So I figure with that defense, there's 3, maybe 4 more wins. Right. So there's some optimism. I mean, you got Tyson Campbell, who actually had a really good, even though a lot of people, you included, thought we got the wrong corner from Georgia.
No, I didn't say that.
Oh, yes, you did. Oh,
No, I repeated what other people say. But remember, I was the one that talked with a couple Georgia people that said they liked Tyson Campbell. Now, I didn't have an opinion about it. I was hopeful. I was relaying the fact that others had said that Tyson Campbell was of the two, not the one that. But of course, that guy went first too. So I can forget his name.
I forget his name too, but I know Tyson Campbell's name, and I'm saying it right.
And he played good. He did what a rookie.
He played well. Something to build off of.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So and then
even when he wasn't good, he was always in position. He just didn't play the ball well. And then all of a sudden that came to we started seeing that, and then all of a sudden he looked like a shutdown corner. It was like you weren't getting anything on him toward the end of the year. Yeah. So that's a positive. Yes,
I'm,
for sure.
I'm okay. I'm okay with most of our secondaries. I think our biggest question mark is at safety. Lord, Andre Cisco, we need you to beat out Andrew Winger. I love Andrew Winger's heart. I really do. I love his special teams.
Man, you hating on Dewey again? You just did this last episode.
Dewey is two steps slow. Dewey is the same safety I saw bail out of the hole when Derrick Henry was coming. Bail out. He had him. I could have made that tackle. You could have made that tackle. He had him, and he bailed out. And I'm sitting here saying that Dewey's got heart. Like heart puts you in that hole, and you take one for the team, even if you get your ass whooped. He didn't. He bailed. He made a financial decision and said, "I'm bailing." That ain't hard. Anyway, Cisco, we need Cisco to step up. If he does,
I think it's supposed to be positive stuff, man.
Anyway, okay, well, because you got me going on. You threw that out there. I didn't throw that out there.
You went on Dewey again.
Well, hey, I got to be positive. And for the Jaguars defense to improve, he needs to be out of the lineup. That's positive. I'm hoping he gets beat out. If he doesn't get beat out, I think we have some issues. But yeah, so I like our defense. I think our defense will be, I think 10 spots higher. We'll say that somewhere around there. I think anywhere from 12 to 18 is reasonable. And I think that ups our win total. For the last, and I think the biggest, and something I'm going to piggyback off of you. You want to talk about that last game here against Indy? You know who actually played like a hell of an NFL quarterback? My man, Trevor Lawrence, the generational quarterback. We all know he's generational.
You want to see generational prospect?
Well, prospect, but he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it.
He could be a bust, and it'll still be it was a generational prospect.
Well, hey. He's going to get one of those gold jackets one day. Hall of Fame.
All right.
So, yes, he had a hell.
He'll have a goal hat he can wear
Yeah,
too.
he had a hell of a game against Indy. Now
Yeah,
the whole
he did.
team was elevated, but he had a really good game. Hopefully, that was the culmination of all those other shit weeks that had led up to him, because one of the hardest things to get, and the only way you can get it is by playing, is wisdom in the NFL. It's being schooled in the NFL. He got out of here unscathed. He was not hurt at all. He has a bunch of wisdom to draw on moving forward. He should be that much better.
That is a really good point. I've thought about that.
Am I expecting every game to be like that? No, he's going to have bad games, but he's going to have good games too. Do you remember in Houston, week 1, he missed Laviska Shenault? Not saying Shenault would have called it, but he missed him wide open. I mean, Shenault sitting right there, like waving, and he missed him completely. This year, I don't think he misses him. I think this year he not only makes that play, but I think he makes other plays too. Plays that were just that far from being off. I think he gets good enough, hopefully this year, to elevate the play around him. That means Evan Ingram. If you drop a ball, get the hell out of the lineup. We got Dan Arnold. That means Shenault. If you drop the ball, get out. We got Jamal Agnew. Yeah. This is the price you pay. Do your jobs. And I think TL is going to elevate. I think he's going to start to elevate the players around him, which is what good NFL quarterbacks do. That is 3 reasons for optimism.
Well, think about there's a few different ways to go on this when you start talking about Trevor Lawrence. For one thing, when you talked about the lumps that he took last year, this is a guy who didn't take any lumps ever. I mean, the worst thing that ever happened to him was he didn't win the national championship again. I mean, that's the worst thing that happened to him. So the guy, and so people did make a big deal. And I never do like this when they talk about composure or whatever word they put on it when it came to maturity and this sort of stuff they talked about in regards to Lawrence in any player. To me, that's just a distraction from bad play. I don't care about that much, but I will say that in this case, because of the fact that this is a guy who, up until getting on the Jaguars, had a history of just complete and utter success. And what you can't argue with was last year was complete and utter failure. So that has to be a great learning experience for somebody like that. Going into this, think about this in another way too. Doug Peterson is former quarterback and an offensive guy. I have thought for some time in watching football, there's probably been some amazing quarterbacks that have come and gone in this league, and we've never knew it because they went to the wrong situation. I don't think coaches make quarterbacks generally, but I think they can destroy a quarterback. You put a quarterback who's got what you want, and you put them in the wrong environment, the wrong system, the wrong tools. I would say this, that here in Jacksonville, I tend to remember when it came to Leftwich and Garrard, we had some of that going on. I felt like when Leftwich was here, we were trying to run a West Coast offense. That's not Leftwich. Then when they finally made the swap and went with Garrard, they went to a pro style offense and left the West Coast, which seemed like the West Coast would have been better for Garrard. So I see this stuff all the time. It seems to me that coaches can ruin a quarterback. I don't think we're going to have that problem now. We got somebody that we got the race car. We got somebody that knows how to drive. And if you just think about it in this, the quarterback is the most important piece. And in our division, think about the amazing quarterbacks in the AFC. Guess what? We don't have those amazing quarterbacks in our division.
That is correct.
That is a big positive.
Optimism. Woo, woo. That is another reason for optimism right there.
Darn right it is, because what did we said? The Tennessee Titans are the are the team that
Yeah.
to beat. And we believe we're going to be able to stop the run really well this year. That's going to put everything on Tannehill,
who has no receivers.
I forgot about that. Yeah, of course. Yep. AJ Brown's gone. Of course, they just drafted, I forgot his name, but from Arkansas. But yeah.
Not everybody's Jamar Chase.
And it usually takes a year for these guys, you know? I mean, so you've got and Tannehill, he was catching flack because he wasn't agreeing to mentor. Yeah, mentor. And it's like, so, and he already came out and said he was having some issues. And I'm not, definitely don't want to pile on somebody who has issues. He lost that game for them in the playoffs. And I like that aspect of it personally. If it hurts you that bad, that means you care about it, so there's that aspect of it. But I've never been super impressed with Tannehill, apart from that 1 year where he was amazingly efficient, which we've seen that here. It was called Blake Bortles. Don't know how that 1 year got out of him, but everything else was
Blake Bortles,
the opposite of efficient.
He was not good.
Yeah.
When you got a receiver yelling to keep the ball in bounds in practice, you're not a good quarterback.
That was a sign, wasn't it?
Yeah. Not only that, but I'm going to tell all our listeners, all four of them, when we drafted Blake Bortles, I went out to training camp and I watched him play. I was leaving training camp and I called my brother and I said, dude, we are screwed. This guy throws like we do. Boom.
Yeah.
Right here. You don't have to be a quarterback whisperer to watch the wobble.
Well, think about, let me just run this down for you. Tannehill, which we mentioned, and Davis Mills. Now, the only quarterback that I think that you would say is good is Matt Ryan. And Matt Ryan is, he's long in the tooth, right?
Yeah, long in the tooth.
Hey, he's also on a team that's kind of running through the quarterback mill at this point. So, we'll see how it goes.
They didn't get better at receiver either. They have Jonathan Taylor, and Taylor's badass.
Name a conference or division, I should say. Name a division in this conference that you would prefer to be in.
It's the South.
It's the South. I mean, we have the opportunity to get into the playoffs. As crazy as that sounds, if a number of things happen,
all right,
okay, we have the opportunity to get into the playoffs just because of the division that we're in.
Because we play in the worst division in football.
If we expect, if Trevor Lawrence is who we think he is, the eye test looked good. I mean, there was all these things that rookies do and added to the dysfunction exacerbated the dysfunction, or the dysfunction exacerbated a rookie season, I would say. If he turns the corner like we expect, he will be the best quarterback in this division. I don't think that's a difficult prophecy to throw out.
With an upgraded defense.
Yeah.
With a new head coach. Yep.
And you know how sports goes. I mean, you see that, you could especially see this when it comes to basketball. You see the momentum of football's like that too. And there's season momentum, everybody knows when somebody's ahead at some point, there's going to be this rush for the team will come back or attempt to come back. Somehow the momentum moves. And basically what I'm saying is that we can achieve that momentum swing at some point. And if we can, all of a sudden, Trevor can take off and start becoming the quarterback that we thought he could be. And then once that happens, who knows, all you got to do is get into the playoffs, of as crazy as the AFC is with all these amazing quarterbacks in it now, we're in the best spot.
Well, I'd like a number one wide receiver. Thank you, Baalke, for not giving me that. So
why'd you end it on a sour note?
I'm just telling you what I would want. That's all. That's the only thing else I would want.
How much better would it be if we had like some amazing, over the top defense scare? Maybe Zay Jones will turn into that. He's got the speed. He's got wheels, man.
Maybe. I mean, at this point, though, he can't be any worse than DJ Chark, and I like DJ Chark. You know, DJ Chark just couldn't put it together for us toward the end there.
I kind of wish we'd have kept DJ.
I mean,
I guess he didn't want to be here, which I can't blame him.
So,
yeah.
But they're still optimistic. They're definitely optimism.
Yeah.
And this weekend, I think
it's reasonable optimism too. It's not unreasonable.
It is reasonable. And well, we try to keep it reasonable. If you listen to the local media, they're not reasonable. They're, you know, it's all puff pieces.
It's teal urine.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
I'm sorry, it's teal rain.
Right.
Teal rain.
Well, so ladies and gentlemen, that is our show tonight. Frank, you have anything else you want to add?
Nope, I'm good, man.
All right. Well, you brought us in with a Duval. I'm going to leave us with a Duval. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. Thank you.